Thank you for speaking with me today. Can you start by telling us more about yourself?
Yeah, of course. My name's Sydney. I'm 42 years old, and I was diagnosed with sleep apnea about 3 years ago. I work in IT, and I live with my husband and 2 kids.
When did you first realize something might be wrong with your sleep?
My husband actually noticed it at first. He said I snored loudly, and sometimes I stopped breathing during the night. I also woke up tired every morning, even after what I thought was a full night's sleep. Eventually, I went to the doctor, and he referred me to my sleep study.
What was the diagnosis process like?
I did an overnight sleep study at a clinic. They hooked me up to monitors that tracked my breathing, my oxygen levels, and brain activity. The results showed that I had moderate obstructive sleep apnea, and I was having about 20 breathing interruptions per hour.
How has sleep apnea affected your own life?
Before the treatment, I was exhausted all the time. I'd nod off my desk or, while I was watching TV. My concentration and mood were terrible, to say the least. And after I started treatment, I noticed a very big difference on my energy levels and my overall well-being.
What kind of treatments have you undergone?
I use these machines every night. It delivers like a steady stream of, like air through a mask to keep my airway open whenever I am, sleeping, because something about sleep apnea is that, like, since my throat is like stuck and I can't really breathe and I snore really loudly, like I need that air to go through. And it took me a few weeks to get used to, but I can't imagine sleeping without it.
Are they helpful?
Oh yeah, definitely. I wake up feeling like really rested and my snoring is gone. My husband is happy. Like she's like, I've also been more focused at work and don't feel like I need naps during the day anymore.
Any advice to those who might
Don't
have
ignore
sleep
these
apnea?
symptoms. If you're always tired, snore loudly, or someone notices you stop breathing during sleep, talk to your doctor, go to a professional. Getting diagnosed and treated can really change your life.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course.
Sleep deprivation can occur when an individual fails to get the amount of sleep that they need. Sleep deprivation can occur due to various lifestyle, work, and environmental factors, but it can also be affected by chronic medical conditions such as sleep apnea and PTSD. Sleep deprivation can be really serious if you think about it, because as you do it more often, it can lead and it can affect your central brain activity, which includes cognitive impairments, memory losses, impaired moral judgment, severe yawning, hallucination even. The lymph nodes can also be affected by this and create a poor immune system function. There are still various grave effects that sleep deprivation can have on you. But first, let's look at how does sleep work in our mind and how does sleep work in a normal person's mind. Let's look at neurons and their functions and their structures. The cell body is the central part of the neuron and houses the nucleus and most of their organelles. It is responsible for maintaining the cell's metabolic activities and synthesizing proteins needed for the neuron's functions. It integrates signals from the dendrites and sends out the signals through the axon. The cell body also contains the DNA that controls these neural activities. As for the nucleus, it contains the neuron's DNA, which provides instructions for the neuron structures and functions. It controls cell activities and includes the production of proteins required for synaptic transmission and overall neuronal health. Dendrites are branched extensions that receive signals from other neurons or sensory cells. They play a key role in the reception of electrical impulses from other neurons, which are then transmitted to the cell body for processing. The axon is a long, thin structure that transmits electrical impulses away from the cell body to other neurons or muscles. The axon carries the action potential or the electrical impulse that allows communication between neurons and with muscles or glands possible. The myelin sheath is a fatty layer surrounding the axon in some neurons and acts as an insulator. The myelin sheath increases the speed of electrical transmission along the axon. It allows for faster communication between the neurons and enables efficient and rapid reflexes. The nodes of Ranvier are small gaps in the myelin sheath where the axon membrane is exposed. These nodes facilitate electrical impulses that jump from one node to the next, speeding up the transmission process. The synaptic terminals are small branches at the end of the axon that form synapses with other neurons or cells. These terminals release neurotransmitters into the synaptic cleft to transmit signals to other neurons, muscles, or glands. The synaptic cleft is a tiny gap between two neurons at a synapse. It's where communication between neurons happens. Neurotransmitters are chemical messengers that transmit signals across the synapse from one neuron to another. They bind to receptors on the synaptic cell, leading to the continuation of the signal. Different types of neurotransmitters have different effects on the neuron function. Each structure of the neuron is interconnected, with the dendrites receiving signals, the soma processing them, and the axon transmitting electrical impulses to the other neurons. The myelin sheath and nodes of Ranvier help speed up the electrical transmission, and transmitters at the synapse allow communication across neurons. Sleep deprivation can significantly disrupt homeostasis in the body by affecting the balance of various transmitters. These neurotransmitters are crucial for regulating the brain's activity, sleep-wake cycles, and bodily systems. Some of these disruptions lead to positive or negative feedback mechanisms that can alter psychological processes. Melatonin is a hormone produced by the pineal gland that helps regulate sleep patterns by signaling the body that it is time to sleep. Lack of sleep or regular sleep schedules can cause melatonin production to become misaligned with the body's natural circadian rhythm, making it harder to fall asleep or maintain sleep. Disrupting the circadian rhythm due to sleep deprivation can lead to lower melatonin production, making it harder to induce sleep. Over time, this can affect overall health and the body's ability to maintain homeostasis, especially affecting immune function, metabolism, and emotional regulation. Adenosine is a neurotransmitter that promotes sleep and helps regulate the sleep-wake cycle. It accumulates in the brain over the course of the day and induces feelings of sleepiness. When you don't sleep enough, adenosine levels remain low, causing an impaired ability to initiate sleep. The body may try to compensate by increasing its sensitivity to adenosine, but this can be an inefficient process. The negative feedback for adenosine is chronic sleep deprivation that leads to imbalances in adenosine levels, causing a reduced ability to regulate sleep cycles and leading to long-term sleep disturbances. The body may also try to induce sleep through other mechanisms, such as increased use of sedative drugs like alcohol or caffeine, but these interventions often provide short-term relief. Glutamate is the primary excitatory neurotransmitter in the brain, and it is involved in learning and memory, as well as the regulation of sleep. Excessive glutamate activity, which can be elevated by sleep deprivation, leads to hyperexcitation of the brain. This contributes to difficulty in relaxing and falling asleep, which means that high glutamate levels can further disrupt sleep patterns as excitability in the brain continues to increase. Over time, this can lead to problems like insomnia or impaired cognitive functions. The neurotransmitters involved in sleep deprivation are all deeply interconnected with the body's systems. Disruptions in their balance can lead to a cascade of effects that disrupt the body's ability to maintain homeostasis, affecting everything from mood and cognitive function to immune response and metabolism. The limbic system also plays a crucial role in emotional regulation. Disruptions in the limbic system can lead to various disorders, including depression, anxiety, bipolar disorder, or any disorders that affect the limbic system that can result in widespread effects on homeostasis. The endocrine and nervous system work together to detect, interpret, and respond to stimuli. This interdependence makes effective information processing possible, allowing the body to maintain homeostasis. The nervous system detects stimuli such as pain, temperature, sound, or light through sensory neurons. These neurons transmit information to the brain where the limbic system, especially the amygdala, processes emotional and motivational aspects of the stimuli. The hypothalamus, a key brain structure, links the nervous system with the endocrine system. It detects environmental stimuli and triggers the release of hormones from the pituitary gland, which in turn stimulates other endocrine glands to release cortisol or adrenaline. The brain processes information from both systems. The limbic system helps interpret emotional significance, while the cerebral cortex interprets logical aspects. Hormones like dopamine and serotonin play a critical role in interpreting emotional stimuli. For example, dopamine is released when rewards are detected, helping the brain understand what actions are beneficial. When the body receives input from sensory neurons in the nervous system, the automatic nervous system triggers automatic responses by releasing hormones. Because of these neurotransmitters that are sent and are all over the place within someone who is struggling with sleep deprivation, causes biases and stereotypes and discrimination against society and medicine that really affects the person negatively. One could assume that because they haven't slept, they're very moody and they're very grumpy and they don't want to do anything, they're lazy and weak. But in reality, they're just struggling with obtaining more melatonin and increasing the alertness and dopamine. And they do that by acquiring and being coffee addicts. That's one stereotype that people label as sleep deprived people with, because they are looking for dopamine shots and they're trying to balance something that's imbalanced within themselves. Some ways and solutions to include and stop these biases and stereotypes and discrimination against these individuals is just by being supportive of other people's mental health and address discrimination. I think in medicine, sometimes doctors can overlook symptoms of sleep deprivation and not really dig deeper in within because they will just prescribe melatonin or anything that's over the counter. It may be really overlooked. I feel like what we're doing right now, raising awareness about sleep and stress and sleep deprivation and all these things, I feel like it really helps empower people that are struggling with this, struggling with sleep apnea, as we covered in the beginning of this video, with snoring.
Sleep isn't just rest. It's a vital active process that maintains the brain's core function. Synaptic communication. At the synapse, an electrical action potential in the presynaptic bulb triggers the release of neurotransmitters into the gap. These chemicals then bind into receptors in the postsynaptic bulb. Whether the signal is excitatory, making the neuron more likely to fire, or inhibitory, making it less likely depending on the neurotransmitter, the final decision to pass the message is governed by threshold signaling. The postsynaptic neuron must be depolarized by a specific voltage threshold in the axon to trigger a new action potential. Sleep deprivation cripples this entire system, slowing reaction times, impairing memory consolidation in the hippocampus, and disrupting emotional control handled by the prefrontal cortex and amygdala. The consequences of this synaptic disruption can be felt throughout the entire body. Critical brain areas like the prefrontal cortex lose activity, leading to poor judgment, emotional vitality, and difficulty concentration. Meanwhile, the amygdala becomes hyperactive, resulting in heightened anxiety and stress. Physically, chronic sleep deprivation suppresses the immune system and disrupts metabolic hormones like ghrelin and leptin, increasing the risk of obesity and diabetes. Individuals suffering from disorders like sleep apnea, however, experience severe daily fatigue and low blood oxygen, often requiring a CPAP machine for treatment, while those with chronic insomnia may benefit from cognitive behavioral therapy. The field of sleep research is actively seeking solutions by focusing on the molecular cleanup of the brain. Scientists are currently investigating the glymphatic system, the brain's waste clearance process that is most active during sleep, which flushes out toxic proteins like beta-amyloid linked to Alzheimer's disease. Other research targets include understanding how the chemical adenosine builds up to create sleeping pressure and identifying the specific genes that govern the rhythms, or the circadian rhythms. This research is crucial because prioritizing sleep is not a luxury. It is a fundamental mechanism the brain uses to clean, repair, and encode memories, ensuring healthy synaptic function and overall longevity.
Therefore, we made a product so that we can promote sleep health and so that we can better help at least someone with this condition so that they can continue and sleep better and not worry as much as what's going to happen the next day and how are they going to feel and how are they going to rest. So yeah, thank you so much for listening.